The Attack on Titan series became a colossal hit when the anime debuted in 2013. It might have even been your first anime. Years later, Attack on Titan is still going strong, with the manga and season 2 currently airing. What you may not be aware of are several changes from the original story that the author created. You're gonna find out about those today. Whether you got introduced to Attack on Titan from the anime or manga, you may have gotten a slightly different start into this world. Either way, both begin with the fall of Wall Maria. What you may not have known is that the original work did not start off here. It instead began 5 years later, after Eren and the main cast graduated. The reason for this change was that the first 2 chapters for Attack on Titan were not originally planned. The version that the author Mr. Isayama submitted are what correspond to chapters 3 and 4 in the manga. Fortunately for him and us, the Shonen magazine company loved these 2 chapters. This was the reason they decided to serialize the Attack on Titan series. These 2 chapters were what the company signed off for what would they view in their upcoming magazine. In the months leading up to the release, Mr. Isayama instead went back and made 2 completely new chapters to kick off the series. This is the introduction you know, where a young Eren sees the Colossal Titan appear and bring down Wall Maria. Of course, these changes ended up getting approved, and the original chapters he showed later became chapter 3 and 4 instead. Could you imagine how different Attack on Titan would be if episode 1 started off with the Scout's graduation instead? I think you would agree that the Colossal Titan left a giant impact on your first introduction to Attack on Titan. If you read the original work, there might be a slight difference you may not have noticed. It's the year when the story takes place. If you're a hardcore fan, I'm sure you got the year 107 memorized as the date that Wall Maria fell. In the original work for Attack on Titan, the story first began 120 years after the walls were created. So Mr. Isayama originally decided to go with the nicer, rounder number. Another numeric difference from the original Attack on Titan comes from a couple of distinct size differences. This involves the walls and titans themselves. I think you would agree that the Colossal Titan towering at 60 meters is the face of the series. Besides that hot and sexy one, the biggest titan recorded was up to 15 meters tall. This was different in the original. The biggest titan anyone had known had gone past 15 meters. It was up to 20 meters tall, so noticeably bigger. Likewise, this meant changes for the size of the walls. With the known titans being much taller, you would imagine that they would need taller walls. It's funny since the exact opposite is true. The original size of the walls was actually 40 meters tall, twice as tall as the biggest known titan. Compare this to the size of the walls in the final product, each wall being over 3 times the size of the biggest titan. This right here is our first hint that the depth of the walls had not originally been decided. More on this later. In the world of Attack on Titan, you know the 3 walls as Wall Maria, Wall Rose, and Wall Sina. If you're watching this, I trust that you know the importance of these walls. The interesting difference about the walls from the original is their ordering. Wall Rose was originally the most outer wall, followed by Wall Maria, and then finally Wall Sina. So 2 of these walls were swapped. It does seem like a small difference, but looking back at them now, these walls have become pretty iconic for the series. Talking about iconic things, all the various symbols for the military groups in Attack on Titan come to mind. Those are the Garrison, the Survey Corps, and the Military Police. Except for the Military Police, the original symbols for the other 2 look different. First off, the Garrison. This one only had a slight change. Notice the difference. The lower left flower was smaller than the top right one. It almost seems like this flower is more in the background too. As for the Survey Corps, the Wings of Freedom symbol has a drastic difference. The original one had much smaller wings, really only 4 feathers on each side. It was then followed up by that zigzag pattern at the bottom. I don't know about you, but I'm definitely glad for the change. Let me know what you think in the comments. Which one do you like more, the original or the final version? In Attack on Titan, you see Mikasa's backstory during the battle for Trost City. The original Attack on Titan story actually lets you find out about Mikasa super early on. You see her full flashback about her parents dying and being adopted in the introduction. Notably, this version of events does not show Mikasa's mom struggling against the kidnappers. Both of the parents are already shown dead. It's interesting to notice how they move this flashback to way later on in the series. Since the original Attack on Titan story starts off 5 years later, there is an interesting change for one character, and that's for Hannes, that lovable drunk uncle. In the manga and anime, you see Hannes at the very beginning, just getting drunk with his garrison buddies during the day. It's not until after Eren, Mikasa, and Armin graduate that they run into this former ex-drunk Hannes. Now compare this to the original. Eren and the group happen to run into Hannes during their graduation party. Hannes was completely drunk. He was walking around town with an open bottle in hand too. So in the original, his character development did not happen. At least not yet. Another difference I'll squeeze in here is that this drunk Hannes has a flashback here to how he saved all three of them, leaving the mother behind. Of course, this flashback does not happen in the manga. It just goes to show how much Mr. Isayama tried to squeeze into this introduction. So as he found out, Attack on Titan originally kicked off during the graduation of the scouts. Everyone was having a blast during this graduation party. The interesting thing to notice here is something that was cut, an interaction scene between two characters. It was a small little playful thing between Ymir and Krista. It was super short too, so weird that it got cut. Perhaps it was cut to throw more focus on our three main protagonists. Mr. Isayama has mentioned before how he wished that he had fleshed out some of the side characters earlier on in the story. Perhaps he was making a reference to a small scene like this that did not make it into the final product. The original story for Attack on Titan was drawn super quickly for the important meeting that would decide whether the series would be serialized or not. This is why these drawings look super rough. Despite that, most of the drawings and panels do match one-to-one to what you see in the published manga. This is especially true even for the rough-looking drawings of the main characters, except for 2 or 3 cases. The first is the infamous Potato Girl. Sasha looked totally different. Her hair got a complete makeover. The second character is Eren's father, Grisha. These early drawings of the father look even rougher than some of the other characters. But even so, Eren's father does not resemble his final design at all. Perhaps his whole role in the story hadn't been decided at this point. Finally, last one up is the Colossal Titan. You could decide if this one looks drastically different. The original work only shows a single close-up panel of it. Compare this to the Colossal Titan in the manga or anime. This one here doesn't look like it had that skinless flesh design, although hard to tell without any color. Perhaps the Colossal Titan originally had skin like all the other Titans. What do you think? Does the Colossal Titan look drastically different to you? The biggest difference with this original Attack on Titan work is how the walls were presented. The walls in the original notably did not have any district cities. I'm talking about those outer districts that are supposed to draw in Titans. It was only 3 walls and that was it. No backup defense. This means that the outer cities were created later. But that's not the only thing. The whole functionality and what these walls really are was something that Mr. Isayama came up with later, or at least at this point hadn't fully fleshed out at the time. You would agree after hearing about these other changes. The original story did have the Colossal Titan destroying the wall, except that here, he literally destroyed a random part of the wall. It was not one of the gates. This happened twice. Before the Colossal Titan appeared that second time, Eren made an interesting comment about how the walls were now 7 times stronger than 5 years ago. This of course being a drastic change to how the walls not only function, but how the walls were handled in the final story. So as a summary, this original Attack on Titan story had smaller walls. There were no outer districts. Somehow humans were able to reinforce the walls by 7 times. And that Colossal Titan that did show up randomly broke the wall instead of exactly aiming at the city gates. It makes you wonder how different the current Attack on Titan story would be if all of these changes were not made. Hey guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this Attack on Titan video and learned something new about the creation of your favorite series. Please be sure to give this a colossal thumbs up and subscribe if you did enjoy. I do got a ton more Attack on Titan videos planned, so even more reason to subscribe. In case you need that extra push, I am doing a weekly Crunchyroll giveaway starting now. To enter this giveaway, simply leave a comment. You can let me know, who's your favorite character in Attack on Titan? That lucky fan will find out next time. So like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.